Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I thought it was time to talk about a fragrance for a change, and so make this a Fragrance Friday video. And I thought I would talk in a little bit, not a lot more detail, about a fragrance that I introduced to you a couple of weeks ago as part of the spend that I made on Cult Beauty in order to get one of the goodie bags. And the fragrance is by Labo and it's called Another 13. I had a smaller size of this. This is the 50ml bottle. I had a smaller size, which I think, in fact, I'm pretty sure came in the Liberty Advent calendar, which we unboxed together over the run up to Christmas. And it was one of those fragrances I hadn't heard of. I am familiar with the Labo range. They're a niche artisan type perfume house, relatively recently founded. I'm pretty sure based in New York, but fairly widely available in select kind of retailers. So by widely available, I mean in lots of different countries. I've certainly seen this brand in European countries as well as the United States. Over here in London, you can definitely buy the full range at Liberty. I'm guessing probably some of the other premium department stores and niche perfumes, although it's Liberty where I've tried them. I haven't actually bought a Labo fragrance before this one. My feeling about the range itself is that while they do some interesting, mostly unisex fragrance, I would say, quite modern. One note is wrong. They have numerous notes, but they're not complex fragrances in the way of some of the older productions. You don't smell them and think they develop in a way where you can definitely smell an opening note, a middle note, and then as the perfume dries down, become more aware of the base or some combination like that. To me, they generally smell of the predominant fragrance, be it fragrance note, be it bergamot or sandalwood or, you know, whatever, supported by other notes. And they tend to keep that one level fragrance on my skin when I've had whiffs in the past, rather than either fading or developing and becoming something else. That's both a good and a bad thing. With this particular fragrance, I think it's a good thing, but generally I'm more interested in more complex perfumes. So that's a kind of long run up to why I haven't bought Labo before, although I have tried them. As I say, I had this little bottle in my advent calendar. Didn't strike me as anything particularly special. When I sprayed it, my initial reactions were just, it was a very nice, clean, fresh, linear, and by that I mean this kind of concept of one primary note just supported by the others, not changing fragrance. That, to be honest, I didn't smell that closely on myself after the initial spray, but I did notice the number of people who complimented me on my perfume when I wore it, and it was and is quite marked. I have not had as much positive reaction by other people, friends, family. Quite often compliment me on what I'm wearing, maybe ask what it is. This fragrance, people stop me in the street, or if I'm in the bank or buying something, the cashier will ask what it is that I'm wearing. Mostly women, but I think that may be to do with the fact that men find it a little bit more difficult to just go up to a woman and ask what perfume they're wearing. They might feel they'll get a slap around the face if they do that in the current climate. So I'm not sure it's just that this perfume appeals to women, because, as I say, I think there are cultural reasons why men won't react in the same way, and certainly men who know me have also admired this fragrance. So when that starts happening, you start thinking, gosh, well, you know, maybe this is something that I should wear more often. I think there are kind of two reasons for wearing a fragrance. I mean, the main one should be that you enjoy it, it makes you feel happy, with me, a good fragrance I just find uplifting or comforting when I smell it, and it often reminds me of particular circumstances. I'm going to talk in a couple of weeks or soon about one of my holiday fragrances that I just smell and it makes me think I'm on vacation. And that's one of the reasons for, buying a fragrance. But undoubtedly, if other people really like it and admire it on you, then you start looking at a fragrance with fresh eyes. So there we go. Why I decided I was going to invest in a bigger bottle of another 13. It's quite expensive, so not to be undertaken lightly. It comes in this kind of super trendy artisanal brown box with a explanation. Doesn't actually tell you what's in the fragrance in terms of particular fragrance notes. It's very hard to find out. In fact, when I was doing my research online, what it says is that the predominant note is what's called ambrox, which is a synthetic animal musk, and then it says and another 12 ingredients, thereby making the name another 13. It was a special collaboration between Labo and a magazine whose editor was Jefferson Hack, one of those quite trendy guys in London, or was trendy about a decade ago. It was actually created in 2010 by a female nose, I read, Natalie Lawson, who I haven't actually heard of. Suggestions are that some of the notes are jasmine, moss, ambrette. That's interesting because ambrette is not a note I am usually attracted to. In fact, it's a note that I dislike very often. I can smell pear in it, and I noticed in some reviews online people talk about pear. It's not a hugely fruity fragrance. I would describe it myself as a very clean, green, slightly woody musk. That's how it smells to me. Classic, not overpowering, just very, very clean, which sounds a bit boring, but actually I think can be very appealing for an everyday classic fragrance that you can wear for leisure or for work, or even going out enjoying yourself. It's not going to be offensive to people. It's not over the top. It just smells really nice. Interestingly, quite a lot of reviews that I've seen talk about it being very animalistic and slightly dirty smelling. I do not get that at all. Others talk about it being like the very modern molecule scents, very linear, not changing. I do agree with that. That's how I perceive it. Some say it makes them think of the fresh pages of paper, a magazine or a library. I can't say I get that, and I wonder if they're being influenced by the circumstances of its creation. But, different people do get different fragrances from a perfume, I think. So, that happens. Anyway, there we go. That's my opinions around Le Labo's Another 13. I do think it's a really interesting fragrance. I'm enjoying it, wearing it a lot in the summer, still getting a lot of positive comments about it. If you can find it and have a spray in a department store or wherever it's being, marketed, do that, because I always suggest you do that for any perfume, and certainly one that's quite expensive like this. You've got to see what you think of it yourself, but I'm definitely a fan. Yeah, so that's Fragrance Friday for today. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.